The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on November 21st, 2023.
It's time now for Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. Now here's your host, Pam Tumpop. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. How are you, Gary?
I'm doing well. It's a nice rainy day here in Wailuku.
Well, it's a little overcast here in Oahu. I'm calling in from Waikiki, which has been beautiful the last couple of days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're so excited to be here.
Yeah, they're surfing the waves in Waikiki.
Yeah, I wish I was. That would certainly be a sight.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Well, thank you for all you do to put this show on. Just want to welcome everybody to Business Matters Radio Show, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. I'm your host, Pamela Timpa, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, calling in from Waikiki on Oahu, and we will share why. We're going to talk this morning with two phenomenal guests. First, we're going to begin with Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, and then we're going to talk to Patel of the Lahaina Town Action Committee about all things going on here in Oahu for Kakua for Maui. But we're going to begin our show with Sylvia Luke. She is Hawaii's 16th Lieutenant Governor, the third woman to hold office, and the highest ranking Korean American in the United States to hold a statewide position. She previously served as Hawaii's state representative, was over a decade as the finance chair, which is a very prestigious position in the state legislature. She is originally from Seoul, South Korea. She immigrated to Honolulu at 9, attending K-12 public schools. She holds degrees from the University of Hawaii at Manoa and the University of San Francisco School of Law. As a lieutenant governor, she leads the Ready Keiki, the state's plan to increase available preschool seats for Hawaii's 3 to 4-year-olds, and Connect Kako, an initiative to expand high access speed for affordable internet. So she is working on broadband as well. She is a mom, a dog mom, a wife, and attorney. So she is a very busy woman. Good morning, Sylvia. Great to have you on.
Good morning, Pam.
Well, you have been just running around, and I know your team has been so busy planning for Kakua for Maui month. And there have been efforts across the state in the aftermath of the wildfires. So can you share with us, how this got started and how you wanted to help?
Yeah, the Kokua for Maui month came up as an idea when, the mayor and I were speaking about how do we help some of the small businesses. And, you hear some of the stories, and it's so heartbreaking. There are small businesses that just lost their storefront on Front Street, and there are others just impacted because of the decreased amount of economic activities on Maui. And a lot of times people are skeptical when we try to tell them, okay, donate money, donate to the Strong Fund or donate to Maui United Way. People want to make sure that they have a direct impact on Maui business or Maui's people. And so one of the things that we thought of is, wouldn't it be great if we can springboard some economic activity towards small businesses? And you've said this all along. If you help small businesses, it's helping directly infusing money into the economy, because these are folks invested in Maui. The money that you spend will go right back into Maui. And these are just folks who have lived in Maui and grown up in Maui, and they have a lot of roots. It's a heritage, and we wanted to specifically have something to help Maui's businesses and especially Maui's small businesses. So all the mayors agreed to host an event on their island. So we had a very successful Hilo's Farmers Market where a few of the vendors went, and the response we got was so tremendous. They said that some of the all the other Hilo-based vendors went up to them and just um, just
Gave them a lot of
very
love, I heard.
sympathetic and gave them a lot of, love and aloha. And that was really nice to see. And we just finished up an event at NBC on Sunday, and we're at Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center. And you've been working hard for the last, basically the whole month, because you kicked it off with Made in Maui Festival, which was really a huge success as well.
Yes, thank you. This has been such a great experience. I know, as you say, sometimes people think of businesses as the structure, or they think of them as a big corporation. Our businesses by national standards are really micro businesses that are made up of people. And there's the owners who, if the business doesn't survive, their income doesn't survive, nor does the income of their employees. And so it's when people really think of a business, it's all the people under the business who work for that business that are impacted. As we help the businesses grow stronger, then their employees are growing stronger and brought back sooner. And this has been such a great opportunity to continue to further, especially helping local manufacturers, but I know others have also been involved to promote their business. But really helping to get these businesses stronger, especially perfect timing in time for the holiday season. But it's been a lot of work. You folks brought in a lot of collaborators to help with these efforts.
Yes, we are just so thankful to many of the sponsors. For instance, Southwest provided all the airfare, including freight costs. They provided free of charge to all the vendors for all the islands. So can you imagine, for Oahu, we had close to 100, I think, close to 120 or over 100 vendors coming in from Maui to Oahu for the 3-day event, and Southwest picked up the tab for every single one of those seats. In addition to that, Truro subsidized the transportation. Marriott provided a great rate, and that was able to be defrayed by some of the funding from HCS and some of the other donors as well. And can you imagine? I mean, some of these small businesses, they lost everything. Some of them lost their homes, some of them lost their storefront, and for them, we did not want the cost to travel to another island to be an impediment for them to bring and showcase their products. And as you just said, this Kokua for Maui, we want this month to be a springboard for future spending. And later on, you're going to have Snee on this show as well, and he can share a little bit about how we can continue this effort. But one of the ways is go on the Maui Nui First.com website on the county website, and it will list so many of the vendors. I think it has about 500 vendors, and it could be anywhere between products to services, and we just encourage people to shop local this holiday season. Just keep your money in the islands and just shop local and shop for your family and friends and people you want to give during the holiday season.
Yes, and many of these vendors are also vendors. In fact, the majority of them are also vendors at the Made in Maui County Festival. So you can also find them on the MadeInMauiCountyFestival.com, which will now be up year-round as well, so that you can find those favorite vendors too. So there's so many great opportunities. Excuse me.
You've done such a terrific job. I mean, this year's Made in Maui Festival, I went over there for a few hours, and you just did a fabulous job. And I know the vendors there were really appreciative, and you had a really good, successful turnout as well. And you worked so hard to get that going. And I know, the fact that you were there, every day, always encouraging others and helping out. I mean, like in this time of need, it's people like you folks and the Lahaina Town Action Center, Action Committee, and many others. I'm just so inspired by the strength of the people of Maui and the resilience and the willingness for them to go out of their way to help each other.
Well, thank you. And I would say, as you pointed out, so many, with all that's going on at this time and all the, to do shows, they have to bring in more products. So, they invest in more products to bring in the shows. And they really wouldn't be able to do it had you and all of the partners of the Kua for Maui been able to offset so many of those expenses. All the big expenses, honestly, all of the major expenses were offset by this program, which allowed so many more to attend. Because, early on, they were interested, but they didn't know if they could afford it. And as the program developed, to have all those big expenses covered made it so many more could come. And also to be where we are today at the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center, I just can't tell you the views. They've got vendors on different levels, but the views from the fourth floor is stunning. But this is an opportunity that many vendors, if we had to pay for the cost to participate at the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center, this is a high rent district, and people from Lahaina understand high rent districts with selling products. So to be there, it feels very special to them.
And I was there for a few hours yesterday, and the setup was really terrific, and gourmet events that helped the setup at NBC and at Royal Hawaiian. They did a terrific job spreading things out on the fourth floor, third floor, and ground floor as well. And it had a really nice feel, and we had pretty steady foot traffic going through all the floors. And you can imagine Waikiki is so crowded, and people are always looking for something to take back home.
Yeah, it's been so great. And I think, this is such a unique, I mean, it was a unique idea when everybody came up with it, and it's been a really special effort. Now that we're looking at over 3 months since the wildfires, what other challenges are you hearing about Maui businesses continue to face? And what is the state looking to do to help those businesses continue to survive or pivot during this time?
It's the stories that we hear. It's not just business specific. It still comes down to housing, because some of these businesses lost their homes as well, and some of them are with friends or families or even out of hotels, which is, it's just so sad to hear, and just kind of sad to even think about what that is like, and you hear some of the devastation on the continent, and they've been in hotels for 18 months. And can you imagine living out of a hotel or somebody else's home for that long? So housing continues to be the number one issue, and I know both the governor and the mayor are working really hard on that issue. For business specific, we've the state provided the county with a large amount of grant with the help of the governor. I think the county is still trying to sort out how they will utilize all that money and try to figure out how they can be effective. But as we go into the new legislative session coming up in a few months, I know some of the legislators have already worked really hard to provide what kind of support can we provide to businesses, and what can we do in the gap funding. Because FEMA is not going to take care of everybody, as we are beginning to find out. There are individuals who are impacted by the wildfires but their storefront didn't burn down, so they don't qualify. And it's the same kind of story, similar stories that we're hearing. So we have to figure out, okay, how do we fill that gap where the federal government leaves off, and where can the state and the county substitute and supplement all of these services or programs?
Yeah, and we're hearing too that also FEMA covers a portion of it, but the state still has the cost share, and
Exactly.
and of course the worker housing is critical because for businesses, if their workers can't come, if they're not housed and they're not settled, it's hard for them to come back to business. When they're making all these other arrangements, given other housing arrangements. So we're all here for you. We want to help. I know we've got developers on Maui that can put up disaster type housing, but looks like beautiful housing that fire rated and hurricane rated, and they can do things in weeks. So we're just kind of waiting to see how the plan moves forward. But their housing is a bit ready to go, and wondering how it'll move forward with the land. But I think once we start seeing the housing solutions, we'll also start seeing people be more supportive of recovery efforts, as well as bringing the visitors back. Because when they're housing insecure and at the hotels, they worry, if we bring more visitors back, will they be displaced? And of course, the answer is no. They're not going to be displaced. But they're waiting on that plan, so that'll be exciting to hear. And the money is flowing now through MEDB and MEO, and one of the credit unions are helping to get that initial money out for businesses. So if you haven't yet applied, reach out to MEDB, Maui Economic Development Board, MEO, Maui Economic Opportunity, and you'll have to check. You can check on the Chamber's website at mauichamber.com. That came out when I was in travel, so I can't remember the credit union participating, but you can find it there. And we definitely want you to take advantage of the money that has been afforded to help businesses pivot and to help businesses do these repairs, the things they can do to get ready to reopen for some of those that had damage but weren't totally destroyed. So there is money there, and that's going to be important for you to get. We know, Lieutenant Governor, that the road to recovery will be long. And you mentioned the state legislature. What is really necessary for this long road in terms of economic recovery, maybe other activities that we also look at on diversification, and how do we ensure long-term support for our businesses and our residents? A lot of people are calling in from across the nation, and it's been really great. I returned to the hotel last night to have 10 calls from people saying, with all the other disasters going on across the globe, we just want you to know we haven't forgot about Maui. So how do we continue to get that long-term support for Maui businesses and residents?
It's amazing that a lot of times disasters come and go, and you hear about many of the disasters on the continent and around the world, but people still are thinking about Maui. And we heard from someone, and they said they have a very different idea of Maui, and a lot of times they have they either visited or they saw, and they're just so devastated and so continue to be heartbroken. And we need to continue to communicate that the recovery in Maui will be long, and we cannot let them forget or think that we're okay. And so we have to continue to communicate, get the word out. And even this Kokua for Maui, the idea was broadcasted to some folks on some of the states on the mainland, which we found really interesting. So anytime we do any kind of promotion, I think we need to just remember that, hey, send out our press release to some of our continent partners, or just even if it's B-roll, just continue to remind them that, hey, please lend a hand. if they can find a way to help small businesses by shopping for their friends and family and giving a piece of Maui, we should encourage that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's really, we knew we had a love for Maui, but this really showed us the tremendous outpouring and true love for Maui. And I think, there's some who said, oh, we don't, we want to be careful and slow to roll on visitors. But I think it also shows, and we knew that we really had grown to a point where we had over-tourism and we're working on regenerative tourism. And what it shows us is I think we're on the right path, because what we see are people who really care about Maui. So as we move to regenerative tourism, we want to sort of open our hearts and show them the real Maui and give them those unique cultural experiences. I think we're going to see that they're so receptive to that, because they truly care about Maui and the people of Maui. And it's been such a godsend to see so much outpouring for the community, and to see the state's outpouring and all the mayors rally, and your office leading the charge on Kukuoka Maui. We greatly appreciate all of these tremendous efforts.
Yeah, and we need to continue to keep it up. And, there's so many people still hurting, and there's so many people still living out of hotels. And, we got to continue to fight for them.
Yeah. We are fighting for housing every day, and really working hard, just to get the communication of what the plan is, so people feel settled and safe. In the absence of hearing the plan, we're hearing people really worried. So I know that's coming soon. I know the mayor and the governor are working on that, and I think people will feel better knowing. And I'm hoping something comes out before Christmas.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great Christmas gift, because when your housing isn't secure, it's a challenge, and I think that'll be a great gift for people. Well, thank you, Sylvia, for first of all, we're just so pleased to have you as our lieutenant governor and leading the charge. And I know this has been tough on you. You were leading in the beginning of the wildfires when the governor was out of town. So I know it has been just an extreme effort from the very beginning, and you have continued to keep up the energy and the eye on Maui and developing programs to help and make a positive difference. So we want to thank you for your tremendous effort.
No, and thank you for all the folks on Maui who have shown such great resilience and aloha and love for each other and taking care of each other. And we have stories of just strangers taking in other strangers they met at either church or an organization because they didn't have a home. And it's just, whenever you hear things like that, it's just so inspirational. And I'm just, it's very humbling as well. And thank you so much for always looking out for the things that impact business and becoming a champion for small business, Pam.
Oh, thank you. Well, we love doing it. It's our passion at the Chamber, and you don't have to. We don't just help businesses that are Chamber members. We're always just together. So if your business needs some counseling, if you need some help, we encourage everybody. You can give us a call. Our number is 242-0081. We are. Well, I'm working today, but Amber, our chief chamber angel, is on vacation for the Thanksgiving holiday with their family. But please leave us the message. We will get back to you, and we will be fully back in staff on December 5th. So, or not December 1st, right after Thanksgiving anyway, the Monday after Thanksgiving. Sylvia, thank you for being on the show. We love having you on the show.
No, thank you. Yeah. If any listeners,
thank you. I couldn't hear that, Sylvia. You said something about to the listeners. Do you want to say that again?
Yes, if their listeners on Maui have family and friends on Oahu, we ask them to come down to Royal Hawaiian and support Maui businesses. And they will be there from 2 to, I believe, 8 today. So tell them, come on down.
Awesome. We will remind them. Come on down today. This is the final day for Sukua for Maui on Oahu. So, but come to the Royal Hawaiian. This is going to be a great show, and tell everybody that you know. Thank you. Thank you.
Aloha.
I'll talk to you
Bye.
soon. Aloha. Thank you for all you do. Okay, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick message from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines, and then we'll have our next guest, Patel.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
Welcome back.
Hey, thank you, Gary. Our next guest is Sneh Patel, and he was raised in Chicago, but Sneh cherishes that Maui has been home for him for 20 years, playing D1 tennis at the University of Illinois, Chicago. He earned a BFA in photography and film and a BA in drama. Prior to MRR, Sneh was the sales director at Peter Lick Galleries for 15 years. He is board president of the Lahaina Town Action Committee, and in his free time, he enjoys cooking and living the dream on Maui with his family. Lahaina Town Action Committee has been front and center in the Kukua for Maui activity to get Maui businesses, and particularly Lahaina businesses, but also other businesses across the island that were impacted, to these statewide events that Sylvia Luke, Lieutenant Governor Luke, was talking about. So good morning, Sneh. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Pam. Doing well, bit tired. Just been, pretty busy couple days. And,
Yeah,
a lot of early mornings,
early, I
late
know, to
evenings.
help get everything set up early. And it's been a long haul, hasn't it? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it has. And but I think there's good payoff for all that work. And the event's really just starting to stimulate back some of these businesses to start thinking about their next step. So it's nice. And many of them were just happy that they are able to get off island, and the support that we've gotten from the county as well as the state in terms of the funding, we couldn't have done it without that. So very thankful for that.
Yeah, it has been a tremendous effort, and we were just talking with Lieutenant Governor Luke about the resources that Southwest and Turo and the Waikiki Beach Marriott have brought together so that businesses, those major costs were funded. What I know early on, people were interested, but not knowing about the cost to come was holding some people back. So what did it mean when all those resources came together in terms of garnering more businesses to come through this effort?
Yeah, no, it meant really everything, because I think, as maybe you've seen or realized, is sometimes we hear of funding that's out there and we go to grab it, and then there's there's a bit of stagnation in getting that into the hands of the organizations, and then really just the individuals that can really benefit from it as a business. And so it was really nice with this event, where things were really streamlined and easy, and there was a nice flow to it, and it meant that the event could happen. There's no way many of the businesses we talked to that if they had to go out even in a crafts fair setting right now on outer islands, they'd be able to afford after they thought about hotel, their rental car, and just the product that they'd have to get. Shipping
everything over, and shipping things back. Yeah, I mean, some of these businesses have brought their full displays. It's really great to see. I mean, they're out.
It has.
They've worked really hard to plan for this and bring so much beautiful product to the island and share it over here in Oahu. And I know that they've been sharing it elsewhere as well. So it's been, but um, this has been truly an amazing experience. So
yeah, and I saw some cards being passed out. So I think, like, one of the other parts of this was, how can we keep it going? How can those businesses make the connections they need on Oahu? Because there is maybe a space for their product in somebody's store. Many of these products, as you know, are handcrafted and made in Maui. So, it's important that they're able to showcase, what they have and what Maui represents in that small business entrepreneurial community.
Yeah, absolutely. I do know. I've been talking to them, and sort of like the Maui County Festival. They said, "Oh, if I could just find a buyer here too, if we could get that wholesaler or retailer, they had a distribution arm or a retail location. But it does give them that avenue to make some of those connections, and I think that's awesome. So as we look at this, I know that the businesses are really excited, and there's been some talk about how this continues after the month of November. What is being looked at for that?
Yeah, so I think one of the things I know that for the holidays we want to do is really promote the digital marketing side, where we can, those that can sell online, really to get maybe more money in utilizing the Maui Nui first, marketing that, especially as the holidays come around. And then, regroup and see how another event like this, maybe not necessarily in Waikiki, could even be somewhere, in the outskirts of Oahu. Oahu is a big place. As we're doing this, there's people that have said, hey, there's a market here and there's this happening in this area. And it's hopefully, we could redo this. We've learned a lot of things from this event that we can now grow and try to make things better, especially on the vendor side, because they are committing a lot of their time and energy in going outer island, finding daycare, just finding care for their children. I know one of the businesses, they had, somebody fly over to watch their kids for a couple days. And, so those commitments really need to then sort of transfer into results for them so they can feel good about doing these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And just we were talking a little bit about this, but so many of them gave up other opportunities that they had to sell to be here. So they were really making a strong investment in this event, this opportunity, wanting to be a part of the team, showcase their products. But I know many of them, of course, even had to hire some people back home to continue doing some of the work back home while they're here. And as you said, there's other expenses. And small businesses often, to do a show like this, have to bring in more product and ramp up for a show like this, will finance, the expenses on their credit cards,
right,
to, gear up for the sales opportunity. So it's one of those things that they have made tremendous commitments to be here and be here in full force, ready to rock and roll and showcase and share their products with others. And people are they're finding treasures. They're coming and being so surprised at what they're finding at the show, which is nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, something just had to get started. And I think this event, we wish we had all events on Maui, I think, had more time to plan for it. But, that was one of the things is we didn't want to not take the opportunity and do this because we knew that there is a need to kind of just start to activate, even if it's in the mindset of some of these businesses starting to just get back out there. And I know that, one of the businesses that went to the different islands, like went to Hilo first, One of the stories I heard, it wasn't like so much product that they sold, but how fulfilled they were with the local residents there and even just visitors coming and talking story with them and just, being there for them, thanking them for being there. And there was an emotional transaction there that happened that was quite beneficial, and that allows somebody to kind of move forward into the next phase of their recovery as well, right? So those are important steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard from Chamber that the vendors there greeted each one, shared their aloha, welcomed them to come back, encouraged them to not feel separate from Big Island, but to, come and be a part of it. And there were other ways they could participate throughout the year. And it just, as she was telling the story, she was just kind of glowing with, the warmth that she felt while she was there. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
And those sister island connections are so important, because we all reach out and care for each other. And I do want to say, boy, the Big Island has been tremendous in raising money. I want to do a shout out to the Tono Kahala and Hilo Chamber of Commerce for really helping Maui as well. They've been great partners and really showed their love for our business community and helping out with that. So that's been amazing too. I want to encourage people, as Lieutenant Governor was encouraging everybody to on Maui, call their family and friends and get people out, tell everybody a little bit about what's going on today. It's our last day here at the Royal Hawaiian. Tell those people a little bit about what they can expect to see.
Yeah, so I think that Oahu, there's way more traffic. I mean, you were there yesterday, I think towards the evening part, as people come down for dinner and things like that. The Maui Invitational is there. So that did bring in, quite a number of people as well. The event is from 2 to 8, Royal Hawaiian, 4th floor. And then there's, hopefully we're trying to get some more spaces on the ground floor. There is, of course, like with any event, a little bit of pivoting and last minute changes, but we're doing the best we can. What I think I'm going to do today too is start to go out to those restaurants and bars that are right around there and just drop off some leaflets and letting those musicians know that are doing those happy hours from that 3 to 4 to 3 to 5 period. Like, hey, if you can announce this Kukua for Maui is happening after they patronize that restaurant and have their dinner and meal, maybe, walk across the street and see some of Maui's best.
That's great.
I think that's where, the community is, in Hawaii has always been that word of mouth and kind of not last minute, but, just like, hey, go check this out. Or, if you're down there, check it out. So, yeah, if anybody's listening that has family on Oahu, definitely send them down. We had that actually happen yesterday where somebody was like, hey, my family told me to be here. And I saw them and they were looking, and maybe they thought I was official because I had a beautiful lay on cigar leaf lay that, I've never gotten one of those. They're really amazing, make you kind of feel like you're important. But found out where they could get that validated. And that's the thing with the Royal Hawaiian, and I didn't know this. Kama'aina can come down. There's 3-hour free parking. You just show your Hawaii ID, and it's wonderful that in the middle of Waikiki, you can get free parking. Who knew it?
Yeah, that is amazing. And Hazel, from my friend Hazel, who came and joined me, said, got to get these amazing lobster rolls. We had lobster rolls last night for dinner. But, I mean, they've got a phenomenal food court. So we're also contributing back as the vendors get hungry during their stay while we're selling, taking breaks, contributing back to Oahu as well. But great food. The entertainment has been off the charts for this event.
Yes, they really have been amazing musicians and artists that we've had. The Neil Blaisdell Center, as you know, we had Enough Said, and we had Kimmy A. Minor. And yesterday, the talent was just there, top notch as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're so grateful to see. Musicians have also had a hard time across Maui, and Again, they've lost a lot of their gigs with um, just reduced number of visitors, so reduced opportunities to play. But nice to see that they were included in this as well. Yeah, and so um, this is nice to round out the month. And what's going on for Kauai? Did Kauai happen already?
No, Kauai is going to be coming up. I believe that date. I'm not as caught up on Kauai as I should be for that. But that is the last event. What's that, Sam? Oh yeah, no, that event is still coming up. And so MauiNuiFirst.com has all of the dates, because there's also the Food and Wine Festival coming up as well, and a few other events to still round out this overall Kokua for Maui. And we're hoping to continue it. I think one of the things that I think they could really benefit some of these businesses, as we're finding out, is a few of them were just strictly brick and mortar, and what I think that could be a benefit, and maybe the chamber can help both the state and county side, connecting some of those professionals. Let's say instead of allocating funds for individuals to travel like they have, what if we can allocate those funds or get those funds to professionals that can help a brick and mortar business, revamp their website, revamp their online marketplace, show them the different marketing funnels that can be used, or hire them to be able to boost their online presence and sales, right? I think that could also be quite a beneficial program.
Well, we're actually looking at that now, and we have that.
Oh, great.
You can help. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that is really important. And a lot of people pivoted during COVID, but again, if you were in Lahaina and a very successful brick and mortar business, after things recovered from COVID, people were still doing very well out there.
Yeah.
But they still were recovering. We found, I think it's important for the community to understand that it's hard for our small businesses first to go through a very long recession. And some of them still had debt for that. And then COVID hit, and businesses got these idle loans, which helped, but that meant they still had a loan.
Yes.
And now the businesses impacted by the wildfires are saying, we've got a debt level that while the SBA is offering more loans, they can't take on another idle loan. And some are getting turned down because of their current debt level from what we saw with COVID. So it's going to be a community effort, but any way we can help people pivot, people feel free to call us at the chamber, and we're happy to help. And the more we understand how many want to pivot, that helps us, because then we can put in grants and have known companies that we could actually help and say, here's where the money's going to go.
Right.
And here are the kinds of things we can do for them. So we're interested in hearing the stories. So I know I couldn't attend the wine festival because I was flying here that night. So I'm sure it was a great wine festival on Maui, and I know the Food and Wine Festival is continuing, which is awesome. And the Maui Invitational's here, and we're hoping to connect with those folks hopefully today. There's so many activities also going on though with the Maui Invitational.
Yeah.
But and all these things had to be planned really in such a rush. I mean, such an amazing job done with the time frame we had.
And that's such a bigger space for them. I definitely know that they're still selling seats, which by this time in Maui they're sold out because it's such a more intimate venue. I will say this: I ran across anytime I saw somebody with a Kansas or Tennessee, or I knew that they were part of the Maui Invitational group. I just say, hey, how are you liking it here on the Oahu? He's like, oh, I like it, but so much more crowded. Like a lot of them really enjoyed the more intimate setting that Maui had. And that's, I think that the experience that Maui provided for them it was a lot different. And, I think Oahu's great, but I am, I know that in talking that was 100%, where they, everyone I asked was like, nope, we want to be back on Maui. So I know that love for Maui is there, and the Invitational, and even the attendees, they want to be back there. So next year,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, we should have that back for sure.
I'm really hoping we do, and I'm glad to hear that you're connecting with people and getting that feedback. The other thing we heard was that there's very little parking. University of Hawaii is there's no parking. Don't come. We don't have any parking, and so I know we have worked out those kinds of issues on Maui.
Right.
So
just utilizing the different shuttles and then having that parking space, by the Civic Center behind there. And that benefits nonprofits too, I believe. Hawaiian Homeland that has that parking lot. So that was the other part of it, that losing that really meant like our community lost a lot of that, fundraising capacity. And, it just all goes hand in hand. But yeah, I'm really hoping it needs to come back.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Our people want it back. The attendees want it back, and we can bring it back. We will definitely be ready next year. We can bring it back.
Yeah.
And and it was debatable. You and I and others worked to try and keep it on Maui.
Yeah.
Because we knew what it meant to lose it, but I know that we can bring it back next year, and so we want to encourage everybody to get out and support that and understand, because it does. It not only is it a tremendous event that our residents love and cherish, but the nonprofit opportunities that it afforded for fundraising and the support for local businesses, that it really boosted their revenue during the time that people were here. It's just a tremendous win-win, and we can and our students who love. Our Maui athletes who love attending that game and inspired them
That's right.
in the future. We just have to remember those connections that 40 years, 40 years of having that on Maui. So really important to get that back. Well, today, as we're kind of rounding out, we've got a few minutes left. What are your overall thoughts of how Kapua from Maui has helped, and just what you think the businesses are going to say about the effort?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those situations where, look, we wish we had the more time and planning, but we did the best with what we had, and I think that what we accomplished in such a short amount of time was pretty amazing, and it took a lot of individual support, as well as the county, the state, the chamber. Everyone came together, and that's kind of the Maui style as well, right? Like, you just dig in and do the work. I feel that even though, like I was saying earlier, there may not be that transactional sort of monetary return that somebody's looking for, they're going to get something out of this. A connection. It's going to open a door for them someplace else. And the idea really was to start this sort of activation of getting back out there, and that's what was accomplished. And I know that the feedback I've gotten from many of the vendors is, hey, we're very thankful to be able to be a part of this and do this. So I look, I know there's, like with anything though, it's just, you're never going to work out perfectly as you had planned. But at least we were able to plan it, learn from it, and now we can plan it better going forward as well. So I think that the proof of concept of will this work, it has been shown that it can work, and we've reached certain benchmarks. Now it's just fine-tuning it to make sure that return is greater maybe for certain vendors. And maybe those vendors also learn products that work and don't work for them as well, right? That's the other part of this, is some of them are so used to the brick and mortar that they didn't have an opportunity to really figure out, well, what's going to sell in this type of setting versus what I usually have at the store, right? So
yeah, and in different markets, with different crowds. I know some of the vendors who had a lot of products that were more geared for a local market sold more, and others who maybe were more geared for a visitor market. Sold less at the Blaisdell, but then you move them to the Royal Hawaiian, and then it's a little bit more of their market. So it's been interesting to hear some of the conversations and the dynamics. Yeah, and you do. there's nothing like, I always say, some of the best experience you can get selling is that at a craft fair type event or a swapping type event where you quickly learn, who your markets are for different products.
Yeah, because I sat at Tambra's pineapple store display for like an hour, and one of the things that we don't get is the Japanese foot traffic on Maui, and just the engagements I was having. You had to kind of talk to them differently in a way to get the sale, right? So there's that part of it, and so. It's interesting, right? Because, like you said, it's a different audience in different locations. And the Waikiki location, we're seeing that for sure versus Blaisdell.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Great local crowd at the Blaisdell, and still a local crowd. We had residents. I was hearing stories of residents who even lived in Waikiki who were coming over just to shop, and that was really nice. But also, then you had that whole Japanese crowd as well as other tourists who were coming in and really enjoying the unique product. And again, the other thing is the outpouring of their sharing their support primarily as they're walking through and shopping. They're just sharing their love of Maui. So that was really awesome. And so it's been exciting to see. I just really want to commend you and Tambra and the Lahaina Town Action Committee. This was something that you folks took on. I don't know when you get contracted, but I know there was a lot of things talked about, and just like that they contracted Lahaina Town Action Committee to help with this. You had to organize all of vendors.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we didn't even really have, we just had the promise of the funds, and we went to work. That's what we do. We jump in, and where we can help, we want to help, and it's going to take all of us. This is such a big, complex issue we're dealing with, but I'm very hopeful with the brain power we have, and the work ethic we have, and the resilience. And West Maui is strong. Maui's strong, and thank you, Pam, for all that you do as well.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Snake, for being on the show. That's all the time we have today. We hope you'll join us next week, Tuesday. So blessings and aloha, and we'll see you again soon.